Today, I'm going to talk about sales and marketing, but more specifically, what industries to target for yourself if you're starting a business or if you're going into sales or marketing. My insight is that you want to be something that's either really cool, so it's easy to sell, or at least get meetings, or it's got a great growth rate, so it's easy to sell and you get more meetings. My thoughts, a couple of anecdotes. I have these videos I put up on my personal YouTube page. Primarily they're personal family stuff, kids stuff and everything. Anyway, a couple months ago I was at a Tragically Hip concert, maybe 4 months now, Tragically Hip concert, and at the end of the concert I went outside and there was a spontaneous group of people singing songs in the parking lot or just outside the door. And so I took a video of it, maybe 40 seconds, and I literally typed in Tragically Hip concert and just looked at it yesterday. So all my personal videos have like 3 views, which is personal family, and this one has 250 YouTube views. And you got to understand, this is a video that has no tags, nothing other than the title, Tragically Hip concert. So if you look at some of their other videos, 12 million, 5 million, 300,000, obviously massive amounts. And those are tagged, some are official, so the official ones really climb. And basically you just do a bit of homework, clean up, tag it properly, obviously make it, format it well. And people have shared it, embedded it, etc. So you would get massive views. Mine's a piece of crap, literally, shaky hands, cuts off mid-song, bunch of drunk people, no one's attractive, etc. 200 views. Now that's cool. You want to be U2? If you're U2 and you've already made it as a star, then you can market yourself. I saw a concert of theirs recently, Joshua Tree, highly recommend it. The screens are amazing, etc. And it was an amazing experience. And U2, if you've ever been there, they kind of cloak themselves into Save the World and everything. So they have a slow moving, for lack of a better word, PowerPoint, but it's kind of scrolling. And all this feel-good stuff makes you motivated, etc. So they get the word of mouth. That's their marketing. Impressive. Got to pat themselves in the back for that. And I know to get to that level, there's an element of talent, but there's obviously an element of luck as well. Lots of unsung luck, talent out there that gets nowhere. And then my other side of this was growth. And my previous incarnation of career, when I was corporate, I was in a business that was growing more than 10% a year. And quite frankly, it was cool. It was a nice positive feedback loop. Great circle of competence, I guess. Virtuous circle. So people wanted to see you. They needed your product. I had one bad phone call the entire time when I made outgoing calls. And I didn't make that many. I made enough, which was way more than most of my coworkers did, to show you how, even though we were in sales, no one made outgoing calls. That's fascinating. And if anyone's in sales, they know what that means. It's a joke because it's not sales. But I actually made outgoing calls. I was a freaking rock star, and my numbers showed that. As an aside, in the mid-90s, I remember talking to an MBA student who just graduated, and they said, well, I don't want to make sales calls. I have an MBA. I don't have to do that. That was the attitude. And to be honest, that changed around 2003, 2004, a little bit. But by 2010, the MBA students knew the score. They walked in with their MBA, picked up the phone, or opened up their email browser, and went to town. Outgoing marketing, outgoing marketing, outgoing marketing. World changed. And that, unfortunately for them, the industry was no longer growing at 10% a year, and the accountants were taking over. And God help us, it was a real crappy place to work. It was hard to deal with it. You're literally calling on people who deal with 4 other institutions. So your entire goal is to get someone online you can make zero money at. And it was an ephemeral product, so there wasn't a lot of, basically it's about volume, getting more in the door, right? So the very quote, least as the traders can see the flows, which was the big joke, but that was the point. And essentially your bonuses are hard to come by, your career is hard to hold on to. Cable companies as an example. Cell phones came in, what a boom. Spend a few billion in Canada on bandwidth. the airwaves, whatever that megahertz spectrum they were buying, and basically shove it out the door. Costs a lot of money up front, creates a monopoly, but now we're at what, 85%, 90% penetration. It's no longer growing 10% a year. So now it's a tough business. Bill Gates recently, I read a quote, he said something about, if I was down to my last $100 in my company, I would spend it on marketing. And I see that. The sales aspect, unfortunately, when you're starting a new business, and let's say you're ahead of the curve and no one realizes what it is yet, that's when the sales people come in and you have to make meetings, etc. Although I never actually think I ever closed a sale, especially when the growth curve flattened, when I actually had to go travel. Got the appointments, but people didn't want it well enough to actually do something on the phone or partially commit. It's basically a waste of time. So of course you're in the corporate world and have to do your howdy doody, how you doing, blah, 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 blah. Let's meet again 6 months, a year later. And that takes a lot of salary. So you better be selling a high profit product because no company's going to support you if it's low margin. So what's the alternatives is, if you're in a low margin business, you get an email like shit, get stuff out the door, and cross your fingers. And that's a horrible place to be. It's nice to have a business, which I do right now, where there's actually a demand, where I actually get unsolicited phone calls. Now that's where marketing comes in. Outgoing calls, sure, but essentially you're responding to incoming, and it kind of takes care of itself in a virtuous circle, and that's what you strive to be. So currently I'm looking at, as a potential side business, is fintech, which is financial technology combined, kind of the intersection. I'm looking at the loan side, don't like it. Growth is huge, but it's not my bag. So I'm looking at it from the other trading side. Now the algorithms are slowly building in the industry, so perhaps there's something there, but I'm trying to avoid something where there's a hard sell. Yes, there's potential there and there's personalities who thrive on that, but not for me anymore. And so the goal is find something that's growing and plug myself into that. And it's like anything, it's like standing on the edge of a small lake and picking up stones to skip. Maybe only one in every 100 stones has been picked up, even looked at. So essentially you're picking through the remnants and trying to find that one good potential opportunity. So the key is to have a good filter. Ironically enough, that would be called big data, but that's another problem, another strategy. And so you're on the edge of a lake picking up stones to skip across the water that have been picked over before, and you have to keep looking. So put a bit of time, go through 500 stones, you maybe picked up 5, and of those 5, one's good, and that's where you start. And the key is hit the plug at it every day, much like starting a YouTube channel. Although the goal of this one is basically to make me a better speaker and not to have so many views. I'm the only one that watches it right now, which is fine. I can accept that. I just decided I need a better name for myself, so I can say, hi, blank. Hi, this is blank, sorry. And that'll be my thing. And when I'm up to my, say, 500th video, maybe I'll have 5 that do well. I'm actually thinking of tying it into rock concert promo stuff in the meantime, so I have that in my title. But so my intersection would be business and a popular rock group and inspiration. That's it.